guys, I know it's been a really long time since I uploaded a video to this account. It wasn't really anything bad. Like, I had, I think, one troll who said something about me on here, and I was like, okay, cool. It was on an old video though, so I'm like, it's sort of interesting. They're going through, they have to go, like, he had to go very far back to look for that, so I'm like, okay. And then I got a lot of good support on here, but then life got in the way, and I've had things that I've had to do. So in addition to, you know, searching for a job right now, every Monday, I'm sorry, I have a meeting, I got hair in my mouth. I have a meeting with someone who helps me to look for employment. And that reminds me, I do need to think of another place I'd like to work. So yeah, I've just been busy with life in general and my bipolar-ish sleep patterns that don't really seem to want to stay in line. But, you know, that's pretty much everything. I just finished Blood-C. A lot of people hated that anime. I like it because it does mind fuck you, and that's what I love, a good mind fucking. Everyone's like, ooh, wow. The reason I say that is because it's a little interesting, because there are subtle hints throughout the anime that none of this is what it seems to be. Fumito, when he speaks in the beginning and he's talking, he basically tells you that none of this is what it looks like, and that you could, it basically, what I like about this anime is it basically takes everything that you may think you know about yourself and sort of makes you question it, as in, like, I question if this is actually my life or if it's something that's just been set up. And for those of you who haven't seen Blood-C, don't watch any more of this video because it's just a bunch of spoilers. So I just rewatched two of my favorites, and that's episode 11 and 12. And this is where a lot of people say by episode 10 it fucks up. But I enjoyed watching it. I couldn't contain myself, and I skipped ahead and I didn't watch it on demand. I watched it on the computer because there was a particularly interesting episode where this frog-like elder baron, like it was amphibian-like. Like if you looked at it, you thought amphibian. It was purple. It had, like, you know, green spots all over it, and it was just, it looked like something that you would see in a monster movie, but an amphibious one, like a Gila monster. So I was like, okay. And it broke in the classroom and it killed not two people, it killed a few people. Actually, not even a few, it killed most of them. But one of my friends said that she couldn't fight worth shit. And I can totally understand what they mean by that. It's just the fact that I don't think I could do any better. Honestly, here's the funny thing for all of you who have seen that episode of Blood-C, it was episode 8. I think it was entitled Against My Wishes. And it was hilarious because they're like looking at it and it starts making their way over, but it's like really slow. And this guy's like, oh, I wouldn't worry, it looks kind of slow. Okay, he was a cute guy actually. That's why I was very sad when he was the first one to die. But what I would have been thinking the second he said that was, fuck you, 6 ways to Sunday. I'm out of here. I am not about to stare out the window at the monster. That's like some of my my southern relatives will say, oh, that's white people's stuff. I don't say that myself because I would hate for someone to say something like that to me. But I gotta be honest, no one in that class was black. And at the risk of getting some major shit from that, I run from things like that. And I've had one of my dear friends, there was a strange noise outside and she wanted to investigate it. I'm like, have you lost your fucking mind? I'm not going outside. You go outside. I choose life. So that was interesting that he said not to worry just because it looks slow. But of course, the second he says that, it takes another step. Then it looks like it's about to get a running start, and then it just and breaks into the building. And I'm like, saw it coming. So then, basically she was only able to save one person, and she thinks that her friends are dead, and it turns out they're not dead. And for all of you who've seen this anime, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't, you really shouldn't be watching this if you really don't like spoilers. But yeah, so, but it's interesting because me and my friend were discussing about how stupid people are sometimes. It's interesting because at one point with Fumito, he already knew everything was going on, and Nene and Nono say, oh, it's just kids being kids, and you know, like they make an excuse for themselves, and he's like, I'm not surprised you see it that way. Alright then. And they're like, oh, thank you, and I'm just like, you guys are fucking stupid, because I could tell his tone was bothering me. And then they fuck themselves even worse when they say, well, that means you don't need us anymore, right? This is like the grand finale. And he says, yes, of course, if the actors no longer want to act, they can leave the stage. Tell me, what part of that doesn't sound freaking demonic and have bad undertones to it? There is no way in hell that I would be comfortable when he said that. In fact, I would have been like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. even though, and I hate to sound like I'm up on myself, but I wouldn't be stupid enough to piss someone off who can control monsters the size of buildings. I am just not that fucking stupid. Play nice with psychopaths. That's what I say, if you are honestly in a situation like that. So, anyways, he summons this Elder Baron. Like, it originally bursted out of the temple once they had told Saya everything, but nobody's alarmed by this thing, and me and my friend are just like, no, like, okay, when they run away from it at first, they're alarmed, but then it just sits there all pretty. Close its eyes. It actually reminded me a bit of the dog statues in Japan at this time, because of just how still it was being. It was just like, so it was interesting to me that none of them seemed frightened or at all put off by any of this. And, so, because I would have been alarmed about that, but the second he said that, you know, if the actors no longer wanted to act, they could leave the stage. I was like, oh shit. Well, even when I first saw this, my heart, like, sank to the very pits of my stomach. And we're just like, oh. The first one to die is the bad boy. And I can't remember his name, which is really fucking sad, because I literally just watched this and then decided to upload a video. Tokizane. There we go. Tokizane. And it steps on him, and he tries to push its paw off, and of course the thing is fucking huge. You can't do it, and it crushes him. So then the girl's like, the talismans! The talismans! Okay, there's no way you don't know by now that those things don't work. And apparently they did used to work, but he gave them fake ones after their first death because he had figured them out by then. Okay, some reasons why these two girls are stupid. Well, when that thing jumped down on him and was eating him, I would have gotten the fuck out of there, but it really wouldn't have done me any good, because the ending of the anime pretty much ensures you that it doesn't matter what route they chose, they would have died. The guy with the glasses, the guy who actually turns out to have actually liked Saya, like seriously, ends up getting shot to death because he tries to protect Saya. And it's funny because he releases these strange Elder Baron, Fumito releases these Elder Baron jackrabbit things that go through the town and slaughter people. It was actually one of my favorite scenes, and it's interesting because these people got hit with a double whammy. If the Elder Barons didn't get them, Fumito's car ran them over, and at that point there was an artillery squad firing through, and the Elder Barons were eating the remains. Now, Saya by this point, you know, has reverted back to herself, and she kills the lead Elder Baron, Bunny, and they all disappear. Now, the interesting thing about all this is everyone's screaming about how this wasn't, in the Japanese version, they scream about how none of this was part of the deal and asking why they're doing this to them in the English dub version. So, yeah. But, you know, the funny thing is, even though I always hated, like, I would hate to die like that, like by one of the Elder Barons, but I always give them credit. They used the entire human. They didn't leave anything to waste. These jackrabbit jackasses, though, they took them, put them in this huge sack, and just with I'm just like, what was the point of that? What was the point of that? Who are you doing that for? Like, what? Just totes. You're totes doing that. And yes, I say totes a lot now. And if you don't like it, just turn the video off, because I don't really know what to tell you. I'm not going to stop saying it. So there's that much right there. And I'm also watching Rogue Hero. I fell in love with Akatsuki, the main character. And yeah, if you guys know what Rogue Hero is, you don't really need me to explain it. But yeah, I almost got pissed off at the student body though, because they tried to gang up on Akatsuki in the last episode I watched, and I was like, no, bullshit! I was like screaming, I was mad. And then he's like, we had to put the jackass in his place, and that's what he did. He's like, yeah, totally. I was like, yeah, there's my Rogue Hero. So I'm totes in love with him. He's crazy though. Like, the swimsuit competition was hilarious. He was about to Kuzuha should be thanking the gods right now, because if that guy hadn't stepped in, he would have stripped her. And that was funny. She's like, you're not serious. It's like, well, he seems serious to me. But I thought that was funny. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah. So, let's see. I'm watching more than just that anime, though. I'm also watching one called Chaos Head, and it's pretty interesting. Half the times, though, I can't tell if it's someone's delusion or the actual show, which I think is part of the mindfuckery. But Blood-C gets a perfect 10 to me, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, well, of course the weeaboo says that, and blah, this and blah. I'm not a weeaboo. I've eaten sushi on here. I know how to open a Ramune bottle, and I know how to pronounce things. So I don't really know what other proof there could be. I mean, a lot of people think that, oh, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about, or, like, when I did do a Japanese thing on here once, like, oh, can't you say more than weeaboo things, weeaboo? Shinde dosumasu konoma. Go fucking die, bitch. So, yeah. So, I don't really care that you don't like the sayings I say. They're supposed to be everyday expressions to help the normal person who, like, or any American who might be going to Japan. Itadakimasu, time to eat. That's something traditional they say there, and it's a common saying. So, of someone visiting and getting ready to sit down to a meal with the host family, or with anyone in general, might need to know that saying, or it might just be a handy thing for them. So, it doesn't really matter what you think. I actually don't care if the negative people think badly of it, because it's really there to help people, and a lot of people like that video. So, yeah, and I got a request for another Japanese tutorial, and I felt bad because I didn't honor it right away, so I've got to get on that. And I don't know, I was going to ask that person what would they like me to say in Japanese, so, yeah. Alright, so that's all the anime I've been watching, like, recently, like, other than just, you know, watching random anime and stuff like that on the internet. And I found the review 10 worst anime endings. Like, a lot of people didn't like the Black Butler 2 season ending, because the season 1 ending was fine. They really didn't need to do anything to that, and that pissed me off. I'm like, okay, Claude is kind of cool looking and everything, but I'm a little agitated about the, first of all, the knockoff effect. I'm not really agitated that it went mainstream, but apparently there's a third one coming out. I'm just like, do they really have to do that? Poor Sebastian, seriously. Like, dude, he just wants to eat. Just let the man eat his food. Like, and yes, I realize his food is a human boy, but that was the deal he made. So it just pisses me off so bad. I'm like, that's just like having, like, you know, apparently CL Eloise Trancy, CL Phantom Hive's soul is delicious. That's like someone putting your like a big plate full of your favorite food in front of you, and you know you can never fucking have it. That is not cool. Not cool. So yeah, I agree with that critique on it. I also commented on a video and regretted it. It was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory versus Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I honestly think that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is better, and I have seen both. And yes, I was a kid when the original one came out, and I did watch it. However, the imagery to me was better. I like the fact that the guy was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, just like in the other one. And it's like and when I say the imagery, the chocolate in Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, I wanted to fucking dive into that shit and just drink it all. With that shit in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, it looked like fucking like super watery diarrhea. And please, nobody ask me what I know what that looks like. If you guys have ever had food poisoning, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Let's be adults about this. So yeah, it's like. And it was just more interesting to me. Like, I thought the singing and stuff in it was better. Now, the guy's debate was another one of the guys' debate was the Oompa Loompas. Okay, I get that. The Oompa Loompa in the original, that looked like a fucking Oompa Loompa. I could see, if someone put them side by side and said, which one's an Oompa Loompa, I'd be like, that one's the weirder looking one. The other one was cool looking and everything, but it just, yeah, when I think of Oompa Loompa, that one in the original is what I thought of. But I still thought that the newer one was better, and I don't know if it's just because I like Johnny Depp a lot. And another thing is that pissed me off, he said that the original, like the character in it, was too nice and could try out for Jesus. Okay, so is it that much of a shock that you run into a bratty kid? So yeah, so I guess I'm going to entitle this video some anime I've been watching plus, yeah, I'm going to put some anime I've been watching plus on it, because I can't think of a title. And I'm going to upload a video right after this one, because this video originally started off with me wanting to talk about something I have, and then it just turned into this. Alright, arigatou gozaimasu, minasan. Mata ne. Okay. Hey, it's my eye.